What up guys, today we're going to be mastering the Halligan. Now the Halligan is half of a complement of a good set of irons. So we're obviously very familiar with the old fire axe, and mostly we're going to be using that as a striking implement. Ooh, that reverb, there we go. Today we're talking about the old Halligan tool, guys. First things first, let's talk about the parts of this thing. We have some nomenclature of the Halligan. Now I hope my autofocus works. Testing this out. Now we have here the fork end, okay? This is considered the fork end. This is the shaft in the center. And then we have the adze end, this specifically being the adze, and this specifically being the spike, okay? This is the adze end, fork end, shaft. And what this is, guys, for everybody who has at least a 4th grade public school education like myself, this is a combination of a couple simple machines. Now I don't know if you guys all remember in 4th grade our simple machines, but there's 6 of them, and I remember 2 I need for this video. Now the first one is a wedge. Now this is a little aluminum wedge. We use this in addition to a Halligan tool for forcible entry. But in addition to the wedge, the whole Halligan itself, with the shaft in the middle, becomes a lever when you add a fulcrum or a tipping point for it to be used. So we've got wedges on this end, obviously, and the adze becomes a wedge, and technically the spike is also could be used as a wedge. All right. Now wedges are tools, or an inclined plane. That's also a simple machine. These are tools that can be driven in one direction and used to slowly separate an object. All right, so we're going to be using this in forcible entry to create some space and get our tools in advanced a little further in the door so we can actually use our lever in a big way to remove the door. All right, so at its core, guys, we know a Halligan is just a couple simple machines. So what is a simple machine and what does it do for us? A simple machine at its core is basically adding mechanical advantage to a system, all right? Mechanical advantage is basically a way of saying that we take one input of force and we receive still the same output of force in the system, but what we're doing is we're changing a method of delivery. So in a lever, make that clear, if I set my fulcrum point 1 inch into this tip, and I've got a 1-inch working end and a 20-inch, 24-inch working end and a 1-inch resistance end, I've got a 24-to-1 mechanical advantage set up here. If my fulcrum's set exactly an inch, and then so that should give me 24-to-1 advantage. Which, when we're talking about mechanical advantage, that doesn't mean I'm 24 times stronger now out of nowhere. What it means is I'm going to move this bar 24 times as far as this end of the bar travels because of where the fulcrum's set. We have 24 inches on one side and 1 inch on the other. This bar, when I twist it, moves a much greater distance than this does, and I'm able to apply an equal amount of force the whole time. So this end is applying a greater force over a shorter distance, and that's basically firefighter dummy level mechanical advantage for you. That's the best I can do. Now, an ideal machine is a machine that has no loss whatsoever. Now, a loss in a system comes from things like friction or air resistance, heat creation, anything intrinsic to the entire world that's going to take a little bit of power out of our system. Now, a solid shaft Halligan with a perfectly stiffed shaft would be an ideal machine. It would actually have close to no resistance. However, this, even though it's very strong, has a little bit of flex in it. So any of that flex basically is going to load up in the bar when I press, and it's going to be applying pressure back to me. So that flex isn't something we want in a Halligan, and that's why they are typically designed to be incredibly stiff. So again, an ideal machine has a little loss, and this stiff bar Halligan is very close to an ideal machine. All right, ideal lever. All right, guys, let's get into the down and dirty about how we're actually going to attack a door using the Halligan tool. Now, the first thing you got to do when you're going to attack a door is a size up. And I'm sorry everybody in the fire service just rolled their eyes like, oh my God, I gotta size up the door. Yeah, you gotta size up the door. You gotta size up everything. Why would I have to size up the door? So when you're coming up to a door, first things first, what's it made of? What's the frame construction like? What is the structure it's on? Is it a steel door in a brick wall? We're gonna have to attack that a little differently than a storm door on a patio, or a front residential made of oak, or a front residential with a storm door or with glass in it. Another thing we want to consider is if it's inward or outward opening. Outward being towards us and inward being towards the residence. We're set up here with an outward swinging door, as you can see. You also know, without checking, is you can identify by what side of the door the hinges are on. So if your hinges are on your side, you have an outward swinging door, and if you can't see the hinges, you most likely have an inward swinging door. There are some other considerations like pocket doors and stuff like that. But, so when you're sizing up your door, consider the construction, consider what it's made of, and then use your training and experience to find out where its weak points are. We're obviously working on a training door today, made of solid steel, designed to be pried on heavily, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Most doors are not going to give you nearly the fight that this solid steel training door is. One thing immediately that I noticed that I can't do is I cannot really attack these hinges. They are too damn big. I don't know. I could go get the hot saw off the back of the truck and we could cut them off. It'd take probably a half hour, and then Chief would be pissed. But so we know we don't attack the hinges on this specific door. Now we do have a cool hinge trainer right here. We'll set this up for a video here shortly, and we'll show you how you can go ahead and attack those hinges with these forks. It's very easy. But what we're going to be going on first is the just general forcing of a door. Now when we're forcing a door, guys, we use the same method all the time because this method is kind of generic. It works for everything. We use gap, set, force. The gap, set, force method, okay? Now this goes with your doing inward swinging and outward swinging. You're using the forks or using the adz end or using a different tool altogether. I really enjoy using a Halligan with just a separate wedge. These are a little bit more portable, and I actually like carrying a little bit smaller of a Halligan because you can just force 99% of residential doorways with with a Halligan, but you can also do it with a smaller Halligan. So I carry a smaller Halligan and a wedge when I can. But the gap, set, force method is very easy. It goes simply like this. The first thing you're going to do after you've shocked your door, identified its weaknesses, and decided how you're going to attack it, is we're going to create a gap for our tool to fit in. Now I do this simply, I'm going to do this with this little handheld wedge, and I'm going to use the Halligan on the flat end here as a striking side. So I'm going to give this a couple good bangs in there. And I've driven that wedge all the way to the stopper here in the middle. Forgetting my terminology. But I've driven that wedge as far in as it's going to go, and it's created the gap that it's going to create. At this point, if I can get my tools all the way in past that jam, that's the word I was looking for, then I'm good to start, then I'm set, and I'm ready to start prying, or gap, set, forcing. But as we can see right here, I have only got, again, that first inch of this Halligan in. It's only created a small gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here, I'm going to set my tool, and I'm going to start giving a little bit of pull. And you'll notice that I'm going to immediately lose the tension that was holding my wedge in there. Now, as I said earlier, guys, having a Halligan is only half the battle. You want to have a good striking implement with it. So we're still on the gap set of our gap, set, force, guys. I'm coming in here and I'm going to give a little bit of tension. That's going to change the angle of my adz in the door jamb here, and then I'm going to start hitting, guys. Set. All right, so we've gapped the door and we've now set the Halligan in the set position. Now we're going to get a little closer here. You can see the actual set position here, and you can see that our wood actually is already starting to break. If this were a flimsier door, this probably would have already popped already. But now that the Halligan is set, we've got it down to our second mark on the Halligan, which is just a reference mark that we put in our Halligan so we know when we're all the way through past the jam. And at this point, this door is ready to be forced by a big, strong firefighter like Brian around the corner here. He's creeping, or you know what, I'll just go ahead and do the honors here. So with a big strong motion, you don't want to be a jerking motion, pull your back out, pry, gap set force, and then after you force the door, you always want to try and control the door. So get this out of the way, my door opens, I can do an initial sweep for victims, but then I want to close the door again, mask up, and get ready to fight fire if that's what we're doing. In some instances, when working on an outward swinging door, you might recognize that you're able to get your forks all the way past the jamb. And in those circumstances, you may want to begin by attacking this door with the forked end. Again, the technique's going to be the exact same. We're going to use the gap set force method. This whole process is actually going to be a lot easier. Again, with the adze side of your forks, again, that's where it curves inwards. We're going to attack this outward swinging door. With just this, and we can see that we are almost to we're about halfway between our gap and our set lines, all right? So I've just got a little bit of work to do to get this all the way in there. Woo, don't float right here. With a couple little taps there, you can see that I'm dead even with my set line on my Halligans, and we're ready to apply some force to this thing. So again, one smooth motion with the forks. Oh, glad I didn't blow it. Finish it off. If it's giving you any trouble, put your Halligan in. Force it right there. Control your door. Do a victim check if you need to. Now, attacking the inward swinging door with a Halligan can present a couple of additional challenges. First off, again, you want to start with the door size up. Find out where its weak points are. That's typically going to start with a big boot kick or a couple big smashes with your Halligan. Shock the door and find out where you're going to be able to start your initial gap. If I've got jam all the way up, and let's just pretend I do, I might have trouble getting this Halligan set right where I need to on my very first try. But what I might notice is that down here a little bit lower in the door where the lock isn't, that I've got a little bit more room to get my tool. So I can start down here, and you'll notice what a lot of firefighters do. Let me just pull this up here so you can see. A lot of firefighters start right here, and they use their Halligan how they're taught, or how it's very obvious to them. They're going to start right here, and they're going to push, and they're going to go, ah! And nothing's going to happen. And we're going to say, hit it with your purse, Sally, and they're going to go, jumbo, ooh, and or yeah. And they're just not large or strong enough to force this door. And that is not a problem. Oh great, I'm getting laughed at by my own shift. So guys, I want to go back to how you use this Halligan as a simple machine. So if we're having trouble applying force, and I'm not strong or large enough to force this door in this direction, guys, I want to talk about this bar back as being a lever. So right now, if we notice this bar is a lever, we've got our 2-foot long section, or 36-inch long section, 30 inch, however long this Halligan is, attached to the corner of our adze. And right now this adze is about 6 to 7, 8 inches long. So that means I've got 8 inches of working ends, resistance end, and about 5 times that in working end. So I've got a 5-to-1 mechanical advantage. If I simply move my fulcrum to the top or bottom of my adze by pushing upwards on this and changing the direction of my lever, I will be changing the working angle to about a 1-inch wide adze and still be using this full 30 inches of bar to apply force to this door. And as you can see here, I'll have not much problem popping that door and getting it to go up. So that's just by using this and thinking of this tool again as the simple machine that it is. Again, simple machine, let's just say it's a little wobbly right there and not enough space. I'll just set it like a triangle here. And then I can set it like that, and that buys me a little bit more space. It's still a little bit shorter than my full adze length. Notice that now my fulcrum will be set here, which is approximately 3 inches away. So I've got a 3-inch working arm, and again, 3-inch resistance arm and a full working arm. Now when attacking the inward swinging door, if you're able to get your forks all the way past and into the jamb there, sometimes you want to be able to grab the other side of the door. Sometimes it's advantageous to start with your forks. So as you can see, I don't have to use much of a gap or a set. All I had to do was, we've got the gap already. I slide it in there and I'm set, and I can apply force to this door. If I find myself slipping out, well, All right, I wasn't set then. So let's get set all the way. That's set. And we're in. Again, my tool wasn't set quite right, so I'll just change the structure of it, change it to a different lever, going up. Oh, keep slipping out. All right, set, we're going up. All right, we're past the jam, we're going triangle-y. All right, just a bunch of different methods to use this thing, all right? So start with your tool, that way you don't have to be big and dumb like me. When forcing an outward swinging door with two firefighters, communication is important. So as much as I want to, I don't injure this guy with this big axe. So Jake's gonna step in here and we're gonna use the gap set force method, and we're gonna talk over communication and how he wants me to use this axe. So first things first, he's gonna gap the door, get an appropriate gap. If he doesn't like it, he'll apply some force to it, and then when he's ready, he's going to give the commands. Now the commands we use are gonna be hit, drive, and stop. Hit simply means hit once.
Hit. You want me to say drive?
If you need me to drive it, no big deal.
Go ahead, drive.
Drive it. A little more.
Yeah.
Now, ideally, I'm not supposed to stop until he says stop, but I just stopped. I was getting tired already. Go ahead and force it up. Oh. So hit, drive, and stop is your communication to firefighter forcing. Tick pull, yeah, there you go. Nice. Now move your hands down to the end.
Wasn't that fast?
It was actually really good.
Safety.
He's gonna get it this time. I know he is.
It's just a stubborn piece of wood.
Oh, there he goes. Another good one. She fought good wood.
B-roll.
No, that's actually really good technical force. You used all your skills.
Yeah. That was a hard piece. I think some of them are good.
Yeah.
But I'm not. That's the problem.
It's all good.
Oh, I can't do it. I hope I can do it with my shoulder. Ow. This would be good. This is good footage. Hit drop. Good. Yep. Good. Yep. Shoot. Jesus.
Just a finesse of breaking the door and not breaking the tool.
Yeah, that tool will start to. I don't know. See, I don't know if you can see what I really did there, but. Nice.
A little more.
Slide and pry.
Go down.
Oh, whoa.
Yep.
So the real question is, definitely fits better down there.
Hey,
Well, let me get a close up of it real quick before you smash it.
Close up insertion shot.
There it is. Done.
Oh! Let's whack it one more time.
Sure.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
I'm gonna go ham on this one.
Okay. Ow.
I kind of wish I had more room too.
Hold up.
I'm like way in there. I'm like,
Yeah, which is good. Now we're.
yeah,
it's gonna
I
get
can't
easier and
lose
easier.
it now at least.
It's gonna break. It's gonna break.
Something's gonna break. No, it's just bending.
Well, we have to break it. Rules are
You want to
rules.
switch real quick? If I can swing it for
Sure.
a minute. Almost done. Good?
Yep. I told you, it's more about who holds the Halligan.